Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. And yes, today, this episode is another lesson in insanity. Now, the question that I would like to pose is Western neoliberal culture sustainable? Can the West, can what we see that is happening here in the somewhat ununited states, Western Europe, even not just the West, you see it in the East as well, South Korea, the demasculation of the modern male. At the same time, here in the United States, there is a new trend within the neoliberal movement or the neoliberal lifestyle centered on females. Many of these neoliberal females, do not have relationships in which anytime soon they are going to produce children. Most or have eliminated the prospects of having children altogether. Now, what is happening? The biological clock still exists, and we are seeing many of these neoliberal women now partake in simulated children. They are purchasing life-size dolls, and they are pretending that they have children. Now, the World Wide Web, the internet, has given this insane movement the ability to coexist around each other. And a lot of movements, what we would classify as simply insane, are because of the internet. Like-minded people can find each other, whereas before you would have a group of people that were, or a person that was doing something insane, you would have society generally say, hey, what you are doing is crazy, and you need to stop that, right? Now we have, for instance, my 600-pound life. We have groups of people who are coalescing around behaviors that will eventually kill you. Obesity, not having children, not continuing on with the species, the demasculation of the modern male. Yeah, some of the interactions that I have with what you would call a man is surreal to me. The behavior in which they interact reminds me more of a female, a woman. And the problem is, it appears to be getting worse. It definitely appears to be getting worse. Not just the demasculation of the modern male, but all of these things that we now see that is happening. Women pretending to have kids through the use of dolls. Bizarre behavior. And it's okay. It's now a market. It's generally accepted. If we were to go back into the 1950s, 1960s, and that sort of behavior would have existed, it would have been ostracized. It would not have been allowed to continue. Go back to the 1940s, and then transplant some of the content that you see today that has become rather mainstream. They call it fat shaming now, or whatever the politically correct for an obese fat body is. It's serious. Very, very serious. And in compounding that, it has become very, very profitable in some aspects, especially in regards to that, in regards to individuals who have serious gender identity dysphoria. Now there is the ability in which doctors who have made the announcement to do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath, that has been pushed aside. And now they are doing harm. And yes, it is harm. It is absolutely harmful to take a child or an adolescent and change that person for the rest of their lives when they're in a state of turmoil. Many kids that are teenagers become at one point in a state of turmoil, and eventually they grow out of it. They grow up, and they change, and they become, or could become, relatively normal. And unfortunately, if they don't, I am a firm believer in Darwinism. The species will not allow weakness to continue to propagate. And at some point, because we are seeing what we are seeing in society, now here, United States, Western Europe, other nation states, eventually there's going to be a hard reset. There has to be. Now, what does that look like? I think ultimately it's going to have to start, as I've talked about before, in all probability it's going to affect the internet. It's going to affect the medium of mass communication. There will be a correction. The school systems here in the United States, absolutely horrid. Absolutely horrid. And then finally, one more subject I wanted to bring up before I depart. The issue that is going on with Tesla. Tesla has about 56% of the market share here in the U.S. for electric vehicles. What's interesting is most, not all, but a very large percentage of the purchasers of these Tesla vehicles purchased the vehicles because they believed they were doing something healthy for the environment. They were buying the car because the environment was important to them. Now all of a sudden, because the chief executive officer, the person who owns Tesla, Elon Musk, has voiced a political opinion that is different from that environmentalist left, that opinion is now more important than the alleged beneficial aspects of the Tesla vehicle itself. So look, Tesla created, in what is all probability, the most economical, well-designed electric vehicle on the market. If that's what you want to buy, if you want to go the EV route, Tesla, with its technology and its capabilities, tends to be high on the list of purchase for persons who want to buy those types of vehicles. The market responded, and it became a fact that it now has 56% of market share. But because of an opinion that has political ramifications, those buyers now want to go elsewhere. In many cases, they are willing to get rid of their cars and buy a more expensive, in some cases, maybe not as expensive, but much less of quality in terms of range. So the question I have, was it really about the environment? Was it really about your theocratic environmentalist religion? Or was it about your ideological capture? That at the time of the purchase of the Tesla, you were doing what your other lefty friends were doing as well. And now that's changing. But again, if you want to buy an effective, reasonably priced EV with some pretty cool technology, you buy a Tesla. They own the market. And now that's changing, at least in terms of a lot of folks who originally purchased the Teslas. Very, very interesting dynamic. And it really kind of shows you how the open-minded, inclusive left reacts when you counter what they want to happen. All right, that does it for today. Tell me what you think about the fall of Western civilization. I see dark clouds on the horizon in terms of society at general. More to come as always. Thanks for joining us. Good day.